Welcome to the Popcorn Junkies, and we're going to go straight in like that. Come on. I don't have any gems on my
No, you have jewellery though.
I have jewellery. She has a tiny gem. So we are reviewing the Safdie brothers' Uncut Gems, most notable for the fact that it's starring Adam Sandler. Yeah, Adam Sandler. Now, before we even get going with the film and all that kind of shit, Adam Sandler, why do people fall into two such extreme camps on him, do you think?
Because he does such rubbish.
But
he has been in very bad.
Has he? So when he does bad, he does really bad. I suppose I've only seen him in good.
What have you seen?
Or mainstream. Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, he was good in that. And actually, I've thought afterwards, there was another film where he played one of a series of brothers, and Ben Stiller was another one.
Right.
And Dustin Hoffman played the father.
Ah.
This was only about 2 years ago, and he was
The
great.
Mayor of It stories.
The Mayor of It.
The Mayor of It stories. Directed by Noah Baumbach, directed Marriage Story.
That was very good. He was very good in
Very
that.
good. Yeah.
He was good in a serious
He's
film.
a good actor.
He's a great actor.
People have a lot of...
They keep putting him things in like the wedding, stupid things.
Yeah, sure. And also, the last one we saw was Pixels. I mean, comedies. I genuinely find him very funny and very disarming. And obviously, I told him to get to the back of a queue in New York once until I realised it was Adam Sandler. I was like, fucking hell, it's Adam Sandler.
No, I like him a lot, but just don't like the films he's in.
Okay, right. Well, Uncut Gems. I mean, it's fair to say this is another film distributed by A24, one of our favourite film producers stables. The Safdie brothers did a film before this called Good Time, which starred Robert Pattinson, which I didn't see. And when I kept reading the blurb about what Uncut Gems was about, I couldn't quite... You know how most films you can trot it off in a sentence, or you can get the pitch? With this one, I couldn't work out, is it a mob film? Is it a hip-hop film?
You and I watched the trailer.
Yeah, but I couldn't... It wasn't totally neatly definable.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't necessarily a Goodfellas.
No.
It wasn't. He wasn't necessarily a criminal that was involved in crime. No. So it was a hard grasp for me to position it. I didn't quite know what it was going to be about. So the Safdie brothers are kind of unknown force for us, other than that they're brothers and they co-direct their films together. Traditionally, I always find that when you have more than one director, it's never a good thing. Yeah. Interestingly, this film is executive produced by Martin Scorsese.
Yes.
Which kind of explains some of the things we're probably going to talk about. I knew it was going to take place in New York, and I knew we were going to be looking at a very sort of shot from the hip, street level, gritty, granular.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was expecting to get all that sort of cinematography, a little bit like the beginning of Joker, but even more grainy and a bit more documentary. Of early 70s sort of cinema, that vibe, that sort of like a documentary almost, very busy, very busy.
Next to Times Square.
But in terms of style, I knew I was going to get a sort of very busy, kind of raw sort of thing. So I was totally thrown that when it started, we were in the gold mines of Ethiopia, or the diamond mines of Ethiopia.
Wasn't
that a surprise?
That
what did you think at the beginning?
I loved it. Loved the beginning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
Yeah, me.
I just love the fact that all the things that you just said I was expecting to happen.
I think it was about expectation, wasn't it?
Suddenly we're in and it's amazing, and the two men rush inside and you see this gem.
Well, and I thought this was not only unpredictable in terms of geography, we were in Ethiopia, it was also unpredictable immediately in terms of the way it was shot. There was a high contrast to the footage. It was almost like it had been enlarged, so that you had the sort of pixelation going on of the actual sort of footage.
Do you mean the beginning bit?
The beginning, generally, but the beginning bit, I thought this was where the film wrong-footed me. I thought, yes, we're going to get gritty and granular, but I didn't quite expect to get gritty, granular, and gemstone and sort of mineral. It was like mineral. There was a mineralness to the footage. It was really odd. So, and then what I wasn't expecting was it goes into total fucking abstraction.
Yes.
Total abstraction.
Yes.
It zooms in on an uncut gem that's found by these Ethiopian miners.
Yes.
And to give you a grab just quickly on the plot before we get into all of our feelings on it, it's essentially the story of a jeweler in New York who is basically sort of ducking and diving, scheming, pawning certain bits of jewellery in order to leverage finance.
Running his own business.
Running his own business, but using lots and lots of different people's jewellery and belongings and his own belongings to kind of leverage access to money so he can place other bigger bets. And it becomes a sort of ever-increasing house of cards of him trying to use the money as collateral against this and against this and against this.
He's an addict.
He's an addict, so he's a gambling addict.
On baseball specifically.
Yeah, and so all of this is to fuel...
Basketball.
Basketball. Yeah, and basketball. Yeah. And all of this is to fuel and to pay off debts. I mean, essentially, this is a film about a man paying off a debt.
Yeah.
So it's the classic man in a hole narrative.
Yeah.
We find him in a hole,
Yeah.
and that hole gets bigger
Yes.
and bigger and bigger. Alongside him in the cast are people, not many people that will have heard of, but Lakeith Stanfield, he's
yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Idina Menzel, I think
Is that
she's
she
the
the
woman
girl?
from
His wife, yeah.
his wife, and Julia Fox, I believe, plays the girlfriend.
I like the girlfriend
She was
a lot.
great. She was very good. I was trying to explain to Maddie that there's a lot of underhand activity around jewellery mining and mines in Africa
Oh,
as a
my
whole.
goodness, yes.
And so I felt that the politics on this at the beginning were interesting. You clearly saw that China owns half of Africa.
Yes.
Did you believe that the guy who was injured in the mine was injured?
No.
Well, he was injured, but do you believe it was accidental or not?
No, I think it was on purpose.
On purpose, I
For
do
them
too.
to stage the...
So they
be
could
able to
stage
get the jewel.
so they stage they have a distraction of a man with his leg coming out, and then they run back into the mine and they get this amazing gem, an opal, out of the wall of the mine, and Adam Sandler's obviously ordered it. And out of this gem spirals a myriad, quite literally, a multifaceted storyline,
right, yeah.
which fractures in every direction. And what for me sort of began to play out was a really rough and ready retake of Goodfellas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
faster, more stressful.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't think I've seen a film that has more relentlessly exhausted me than this in recent
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what were your feelings, if you like the beginning? What started to go wrong for you, Mum?
What makes you think anything went
It's
wrong?
kind of clear. If you liked the beginning, where did it start to go wrong
I
for
only
you?
liked the beginning in the sense that I knew it was a fairy tale beginning, and because I knew vaguely the plot, and it was to do with an uncut gem, one presumes, because they immediately took us to the jewellery quarter, and he's this man who's out of his depth in so many ways. My problem was immediately that although I like Adam Sandler, I've always thought of myself as an Adam Sandler fan, I hated him from the moment he came on screen. I didn't just hate him, which you could say, well, it is that important, but it is in a sense.
I think you're
'cause we have
supposed to.
Well, yes, I'm sure we are,
Yeah.
but
It's
if you
supposed to
haven't-
be a repulsive person.
Yes, but
Yeah.
if you haven't got anything invested in him,
But I disagree with that.
Okay.
I thought that Adam Sandler's performance was so brilliant because...
it was a good
No,
performance.
because his character was so unfaithful, so repulsive, someone that you originally would look at and be like, I hate you, you're evil. Yet you were on his side the whole... You were worried about his safety the whole time.
I wasn't, you see.
No, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's why
Yeah.
I see the film completely differently to you.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
feel like that is such a skill as an actor to be playing such a horrible character that in the real world you just look at and be like, oh, I hope you die. You're
Yeah.
evil, da, da, da. But in a film you manage to worry about him. You manage because he's in so much danger. The film is so stressful because you don't want anything bad to happen to him. Yeah, he's such a bad person that something bad should really happen to him.
That's really interesting because I knew that was how the filmmakers and Adam Sandler himself wanted me to feel, and I really wanted to feel that, but I didn't feel it at all.
Right.
I felt so sort of
Alienated?
from him, and also right from the very beginning, and you guys will take the mickey out of this or think it's ridiculous or think I'm being ridiculous, I thought it was incredibly racist in terms of Jews.
Well,
And now that's a difficult thing to say, and I know Jews are involved in the gem
given
industry.
that the two
and-
directors are from the Jewish Orthodox religion,
Well, absolutely.
I
So
think-
who am I to
Adam
say
Sandler.
that?
And Adam Sandler.
Yes, but the
And-
way that they position this objectionable man and all the people around him were equally objectionable. Firmly in the... I just thought...
I'm not suggesting that you've missed something. What I would suggest the film's trying to do, because I thought long and hard about that, there was a lot of dialogue between the Lakeith Stanfield and Adam Sandler chat about black
Jews.
Ethiopian Jews,
Yeah.
what is Jewish, you are Jewish. And you're right, when people have the prejudicial stereotypes of Jewish people,
Yeah.
you could argue that if this was made by anyone other than
Yes.
It wasn't made by Jews.
emphatically
Yeah.
Jewish personnel, directors,
Yeah.
that conceived it, everything, I could see what you were saying. But what I thought in that sense was this was a little bit like equivalent. This film was the equivalent for me of when hip hop artists have taken ownership of the N-word and other words that for them are they want to culturally
That's
reappropriate. And I felt that this was actually, at times, I thought this was an incredibly nifty, clever, dangerous, challenging, extraordinarily risky endeavour to challenge us all in our stereotypes of the Jewish community
Yeah.
from within.
How
So
did
by the very simple act of placing it bang in the middle, for me this was like almost a modern remix of The Merchant of Venice.
I was just going to say, how could it be challenging in the sense that he was a modern day Shylock?
Yeah,
and he didn't.
But I think it's challenging for all the reasons that Maddie says, because they give us virtually nothing to like about
No.
it.
I
Virtually
I
nothing.
felt so sorry for him the whole way through.
And
Did you?
yeah, and I thought it then became a really interesting sort of challenge to you as a viewer, that this is a film that through sheer bravura is going to grab you by the scruff of your
Okay.
neck, take you on this journey with
Yeah.
this thoroughly unlikable man.
Yeah.
You're going to be probably, as a non-Jewish viewer, pulling in all the stereotypes you've heard,
Yeah.
wondering what the fuck's going on. This
Yeah.
is all a bit close to the bone. This
Yeah.
is all a bit stereotypical. Oh my God. And equally, I thought they did the same thing with the hip hop group, with the black characters within it. I
Yeah.
thought the stereotypes were working. You know, basketball players, hip hop artists,
yeah.
gold things, Furbies. You know,
Yeah.
you know, bejeweled Rolexes and all that. I thought this was. It was dreamlike, and I thought almost with all that kind of zooming in on the facets of the gem, and then kind of it going
was really
abstract. and-
psychedelic.
It was psychedelic.
Okay.
At times, I felt like it was purposefully extreme in its characterization of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
too.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but and that makes it sound as if I've just missed all
No,
of that.
I don't mean it like
in a
that. I mean, it's
sense-
whether it does that for you or not.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I mean, they clearly were really trying to do the Jewish. They took us right into the heart of the family. You have that scene where they're all.
I was
sitting around
fascinated by the
sitting-
Passover
I
and
love
all
it.
of that kind of
I
stuff.
was
Yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah.
and I could get that they were sort of, because they've got skin in the game, and they
Yeah.
are the ones that can take the mickey out
Yeah.
of the whole Jewish thing, or certainly aim a spotlight at it. I knew all of that in my head, and plus the fact of always having liked Adam Sandler, I was desperately trying to find the sympathy thing which you said, which I knew I was supposed to find, and I couldn't find it.
Right. Well, I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think you're supposed to. And I think the only moment I felt the whole film calmed down for a moment of humanity were two scenes, actually. The one between him and his wife,
Yes.
where he was
Loved
saying,
that scene.
I thought that was such a powerful scene.
Yes.
It was like they pulled the handbrake, and the whole film did a handbrake sort of turn,
Yes.
and we paused for a moment,
Yes.
took stock. The scene with his daughter, which you really
I
liked.
felt really, yeah.
You know, that whole thing where he was watching her on stage, and then at
Yeah, that
home
was
he was
really
trying
good.
to connect with her, and the daughter's disconnect. I think
Yeah.
every parent, every child could relate to that in some way,
Yeah.
and you felt his distance. And also the scene, strangely, with the guy, did you recognise him from Taxi? The actor who used
Yes,
to be in
Judd
Taxi.
Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch, is that his
Judd
name?
Hirsch,
He's
yeah.
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's
And
never
I-
been in anything for ages.
and I thought there were moments there, even the moment where Adam Sandler's son was looking at him when he got back in the car when he realised
Yeah.
that there was a woman up there.
Yeah.
This was a man who was so, I hate the expression, but balls deep into his own fucking mess,
Yeah.
that he was just struggling to survive.
Yeah.
And it became, in a weird way, it became a voyeuristic watch for me of, will this guy survive?
Yeah. It was so stressful.
And that sustained me. Now, I never liked him, and my compassion for him was one of, to the point of, come on, it was like they brought the gambler out in me.
Yeah.
It was like we
actually-
placed a bet on his
that's-
story.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Because I hated it I hated it. I don't know how to say this after being so passionate about hating it at the beginning.
Yeah.
I hated it far more at the beginning than I did by about 3/4 of the way
Right.
through it, where I suppose what was happening was
Yeah.
exactly what you just
Yeah.
started to say. It was so fantastic how he was being hit on every side.
Yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah.
literally like a man in the middle looking all
Well, he
around
was
him.
an uncut gem.
He was.
I can't remember how many times or how recently I have been as genuinely shocked and surprised by the outcome as I was at the end of this film.
Jesus.
I was so unexpectedly broadsided by the eventual outcome
Me too.
that once again it did that thing of it. It was probably one of the most stressful and unpleasant watches. I mean, me and Maddie were sitting there. I
Yeah.
was having pains in the left side of
Yeah,
my chest.
No, I
I
fully
was.
thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what I mean when I say I hated it, is
Yeah.
that well, you just said it, I've never felt as anxious in a film.
No.
You know, in all the war films or anything I've seen as I did in this film.
No.
It's ridiculous.
And in a weird way, I was saying to Maddie as well afterwards, it sort of sits alongside, there seems to be what I would call, if it's almost a genre, there's a new sort of intensity to filmmaking going on at the moment. There's I feel a connection between this, 1917 and Joker, where they all relentlessly keep taking us in and in, and where most other normal films would stop and pull you back for breath, let you reorientate yourself, or give you some moral guidance to go, oh yeah, it's a happy ending, oh yeah. None of these films do.
No.
And I think this could be the dawn of a new age. I wonder if this new film, The Lighthouse, does something similar, where we are taken relentlessly down the hole, and you don't stop going. For me, the analogy for this film was, when I think of the scenes, he was an uncut gem, and it is an uncut gem, right down to the way it was shot and the way it looked. It felt like you had so many moments in it.
I loved the way it looked.
Yeah.
The brain on it was...
I mean, you were picking up moments though, like all of the supporting cast who maybe have one line. So like the porn dealer that he goes to, who he exchanges the ring with.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
The guy who works for him, the fat guy who comes to open the door.
Yes.
What was that shot you pointed out where
when he's trying to save the fish and he's just standing
there laughing.
And also I love the guy that had like the really crazy hair that just wanted to watch back.
Yes.
And like he was so unthreatening. And like you said, one probably would think that you don't need a character like that when you've got all of these threatening characters.
Yes.
But there's something so good about him just keep coming back and everyone's just like, go away. Like,
and also you would have that bloke, wouldn't you? Who looks totally unthreatening compared to all the others.
Yeah, I thought
and
those
is
were great
unthreatening.
detail.
So everyone's
just
like, like, go, just get rid of him.
Where I thought a lot of tenderness did sit in the film was in his relationship with his Julia Fox, his bit on the side, if you like.
Mm.
I thought she was phenomenal.
I thought she was. I thought she grew in terms of, or maybe it's what they gave her to do, but I didn't think much in the beginning, but then as the film went on, I just thought she was amazing.
What did you
she
think?
looked different in every
She did. I didn't know whether it was the same woman.
I kept getting like the bit where she's in the club with the Weeknd, the rapper. I was just like, who's that? And then she looked completely different in every scene.
But also the main guy is a top basketball star.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's what's his name?
Lovely,
Kevin Garnett.
Wasn't he lovely?
Kevin Garnett, KG, was he?
He played
KG?
it absolutely.
He played it brilliantly. I thought he was fantastic, and to have that sort of, there was a lot of documentaries. There's a lot of filming off monitors. You had a lot of CCTV footage. There was a lot of phone usage, and I found there was a real organic feel to every shot. It was crisp. Now, one of the things that really I worried about at first, I'd be interested to know what you thought of this. What do you think of the soundtrack? I mean, at the beginning, I found it so overbearing. And I'll tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the synthesizers and Moogs that they use in Mandy.
Yeah.
And it was tugging so spectacularly against the actuality of the sense.
No, that's very
I loved it.
But but for me, I was convinced by it by the end. It was a sort of...
Yes, I was by the end.
It was mesmerising. And it was captivating. What did you think of KG, the basketball player's obsession with the opal?
I really liked that.
And it was totally believable.
It was, wasn't it? I mean, it's a ludicrous thing.
Well, it is, but this is again where, and I don't want to come back to the sort of Jewish racism, if it could be, because I thought, although in a way it was taking the mickey out of the whole, as you said about the whole gold chains and gold this and everything of the black members of the cast, there was a softness to that. There wasn't a sort of judgment of that, whereas I felt there was somehow a real judgment of the Jewish thing.
Oh, did you?
And I mean, clearly they can do it.
So weird, I didn't feel that at any point because I knew
didn't.
that Adam Sandler was Jewish.
Well, I knew all of that too, but I just thought all the people
if they
watching
weren't,
it,
then I would have been like, oh.
Yeah.
But I feel like you kind of can say that when you're
Well, no,
culture.
I kept thinking that, but I kept thinking I saw it in an audience that was quite full, and I thought,
ours was packed.
Is
people being told to get out.
Yeah, it was rammed. I mean, they've done a sort of limited release on this. So
I
it's
know.
rammed
I mean,
everywhere.
I had trouble just finding
Yes,
it.
so do we. Two screenings sold out. You're going to struggle to see this. I'd go a step further with the whole sort of representation of Jewishness within it. I thought it was even more refreshing how they presented it, because the thing around stereotypes and the thing around cultural archetypes and all that kind of stuff is that sometimes they're based in truth.
Yes.
And it's like, I've always found it really odd how on the one hand we don't want to see difference, and yet on the other we're supposed to cherish difference. I'm culturally different to you. Well, if you're culturally different to each other, then you've surely got to cherish what's different about you. I think where racism creeps in is where difference is seen. You only view
used as
an insult, where you characterise those details in a negative fashion, or they're seen as the only thing that person can be. That's when it gets troublesome. But I thought...
But also, you have bad people in any culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are bad white people, there are bad Jewish people, there are bad black people. And it's not like just because Adam Sandler's character was this like repulsive, unlikable man. Was it shitting on the whole Jewish community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think a little bit like that film we saw last year, Disobedience, about the, Rachel Weisz, the lesbian thing in North London. It's like pretending Finchley isn't principally populated with Hasidic Jews.
Yeah.
If you were to show a shot of Finchley, it would be odd not to have Hasidic Jews walking in shot.
Yeah, but also the thing with stereotypes, though sometimes they're wrong, and we should, you shouldn't jump to. Stereotypes came from somewhere. There are
That's
people
what Mark's saying.
So it's not like.
So my feeling about the whole jewellery world in New Yorkers, and any New Yorkers listening to this, perhaps that's just the way it is. Perhaps the majority of people selling there are Jewish.
Sure, and I do think they were referencing in the sense Merchant of Venice, definitely because the whole sort of steeped in that world, and everybody that they showed us that he was dealing with was Jewish, and maybe it is the whole
taking an ounce of flesh. And
I love that. I did like the kind of twist that the guy that he was against the most, that was putting him in the most danger, was family.
Yes.
He's great, that
He's
actor,
great. Yeah, he was in
Sing for
Succession,
Age.
he was in Billions. He's good.
Yeah.
He does a lot of TV series.
I love that conflict
Yes.
between him and that group.
I loved the way it looked.
Yes.
I loved the way it looked, and I loved the soundtrack in the end.
Right.
I thought the same as you, that it didn't sit well with what I was saying to begin with, but then I thought it sat beautifully. So
I feel like it was such a. Because the reason why I think why I thought Adam Sandler's performance was so brilliant, and I think it should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, it was
First of all, it's completely different to anything else that he's done before,
Yeah.
and the amount of energy that he kept up throughout that entire film.
Yeah.
I was exhausted just watching his
Yes,
performance.
that's true.
So I can't imagine how he must have had to have kept that energy the entire.
Well,
time.
Mandy made the point as we came out. When you're on a film set, we often forget. You see a film in its completion, and you think it's like a stage acting. The difference is, every one of those scenes, he's got to start every take at the same level of energy, appropriate to the many varying levels of energy he's had in each scene.
Yeah.
You cannot even begin to comprehend how complicated that performance was by him,
no.
and how he had to maintain that.
Yeah.
And not go over the top.
And not go over the top. You're absolutely right.
I read one critic who said, obviously this sort of acting, because one always thinks of Adam Sandler, and I always have done up until now because of the type of films he's in, as a sort of dopey guy.
Yeah.
And this was the opposite of a dopey guy. This was a guy so sort of together and mad that this critic said that maybe this type of acting suits him. Maybe he's like that in real life. Absolutely.
Well, he was like that when he was trying to get into the queue with me. I mean, he looked, what do you mean I can't get in the queue? And then
it's all
Sandler. Yes, he is. He's just like
proper New York.
Proper New York.
I love his voice.
Oh, I love his voice. And his
so
quips and his one-liners. And you've got that sort of, again, this is a stereotype.
He's apologising. Didn't you at one point want to say, well, just don't do it. Stop it. Do something ridiculous, be punched, and then do it again.
Do it again.
But also, what I really loved about him as well was the constant chatter.
Yes.
When people were talking to him, he was still talking to
them.
So
true.
He never stopped. Like when he would be having a conversation with Lakeith Stanfield, he would try and talk to him, and then Adam Sandler would just be like, carry on talking. Also, when he was on the phone to people, it was constant. It's that thing if he always kept smiling.
Yes.
Because he didn't want to seem like he was angry.
Yeah.
So he'd just be like, okay, I'm sorry.
But he's carrying on. Carrying on.
But he'd carry on.
And you're right, he would talk his way through danger. So he'd walk into a potentially dangerous situation. Lakeith Stanfield can't find anything in his office. Where's my watches? He gets on the phone, he's taking a call from his oncologist. It's like, what the fuck?
Also, it kept wrong-footing me because I didn't think the guy would bring the opal back. I mean, I thought...
No, I know. How stressful was him getting the opal?
Why would he do that? Why would he let him take it out?
I know!
Well, no, but he was a bit scary, wasn't he? Also, he was a basketball fan, so he was probably... Like, and then the one time it's brought to him, the door won't open.
Oh, that was a fantastic scene.
That directorially was...
That was when I thought I'm going to have a heart attack.
It was so realistic. Yeah, because they were getting so angry as well. But it was so realistic the way Adam Sandler was trying to deal with it as well.
And you felt they were going to go, they weren't going to come, they were going to go.
That was the source of my anger, because I thought I hadn't got angry until that point, although I didn't like anybody in the film. And as you say, we weren't supposed to like them, but I thought, I'm going to have a heart attack at all these unpleasant people being unable to get through a door.
But I thought that was so...
I thought there was something so good about that. They can kill people, but can't open a door.
Yes,
full credit. Yeah, exactly. How a closed door stops all fucking threat. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think the Safdie brothers... I'm a huge fan, and you know this from stuff I've shot as a documentary maker and all that kind of... I'm a big fan of shooting things in really constrained spaces and bringing so much to a limited... I love limited options. It's like, give me a small room and I can turn it into a feature film. And he did exactly that within his office, and everywhere
I
was
loved all the bits
very enclosed.
with that jewellery.
Jewellery
Don't
place.
lean on the count. Don't lean.
Don't
lean.
lean.
Oh, and then
Oh
it
my
rose.
god! Oh my god! So brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And again,
But every time he got like kind of angry with someone, I was like, please be careful.
Yeah.
Like when he broke the glass, he was like, I told you not to lean on it. I was
Yeah.
like, don't get too angry.
But I loved how the film was brave enough to sometimes, and at the most unexpected moments, go into these huge zoom-ins on abstract colours and sort of just glinting
I
shards
loved
of
the look
light
of it,
and all
that made me
all that
angry as
kind.
well because I thought I loved the look of it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Without again giving away the ending, how on the edge of your seat were you at the match?
Oh my god.
I mean, I was giving a running commentary going, no, that's the kickoff. That means they've now got to get 26 points, but now the team has to, it's a
Dad was
three-way
watching it
bet.
like he was watching a football
Oh
match.
my
He was verbalising
God.
himself a lot. No, but it was kind of like, I don't think that I breathed at all in that entire scene.
No, I mean, if nothing else, the freaking editor should be nominated for an Oscar. It was
astonishing.
spectacularly edited.
Yeah.
I mean, as an
It should be
editor,
nominated for editing.
spectacularly edited.
Should have been nominated for quite a few
And
things.
Adam
He didn't
Sandler,
get
and
nominated for anything.
I agree.
And he simply didn't get nominated just because people
think they know Adam
They're just
Sandler.
small-minded because he's been in such crap.
Okay, well, let's sum up and score. So, have we changed your mind?
I don't know, maybe a bit.
okay.
But
Our work here is done.
what can I say about it? I was angry all the way through.
Well, it's
which I can
interesting,
do-
though. That's
I can
interesting.
do very easily angry. But
Yeah. It's
it
an
made
angry
me
film.
furious. Yeah. But I loved so much about it, and I suppose what was, like I said, I expressed it best just then when I said I was getting furious because I was having film was giving me a heart attack and I hated everybody in it. I recognise that you're not supposed to like anybody. I've always liked Adam Sandler. I kept expecting his sort of hangdog personality to pull me in at some point. The girl did, his girlfriend did. I thought, what's a sort of sparky, I mean, I believed in her character. Oh, what can I say? I loved so much about it, but sort of felt like I was angry and hated it. But then talking about it now, maybe it's a film that I need to see again, actually.
Maybe.
Because there was so much good in it, and yet at the same time, I kept getting stuck on things, like the Jewish thing, like the fact that I was thinking, what would people think just coming to this? Maybe, so I don't know.
What would you give it out of 100?
85.
Okay.
It's still
At
pretty
least,
high.
actually.
Yeah,
Because
85.
of all the exterior things. And
I kind of knew this was going to be really interesting. I was fascinated to see Adam Sandler sort of play against type. I really wanted to see him broaden his acting range. I was genuinely surprised by how brilliantly shot, constructed and paced this film was. I loved the way in which it took no prisoners and it made it didn't in any way accommodate the viewer whatsoever for like a moment of rest or a moment of respite or a breather it was relentless. And as I've said in the review, I feel like it sits quite well alongside some other notable films recently like Joker, like 1917, where the filmmaker has got a real grasp on how to keep ratcheting up the intensity, which, as I said to Maddie after the film, without actually exhausting you, because the danger with that is that you kind of get an hour and a half in, you're exhausted, you fall over, and the film generally sags at that point.
Yeah.
Can't maintain, it's very hard to maintain that.
Yeah.
And I thought as a film this achieved almost the impossible insofar as it did all of that with a character at the heart of it that was 90% unidentifiable with or unlikable.
Yeah.
All the choices he was making were wrong. We weren't given any soppy scenes of him struggling with his addiction or even showing particularly much remorse.
No.
And so identification was tough. So I love the fact that a film has a lead protagonist who's so unsympathetic.
Yeah.
And I can't unpack accurately how or why I cared so much by the end.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself, I don't want to almost analyse too much more. That's a remarkable achievement by the filmmakers.
yeah, it's true. It's true.
Beautifully
And
shot.
the performance.
And the performances, absolutely. Beautifully shot, brilliantly acted. All the support cast were brilliant. Lakeith Stanfield, at some point, is going to be one of the most heralded actors of our generation. He every part he's in is effortless. He's effortless.
He is effortless, yeah.
He'd make a great Iago or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I felt the parallels with Shakespeare were massive.
They were.
I thought its sense of almost a fairy tale, but a really dark, twisted, horrible fairy tale were great. Its ending literally blew my brains out. Literally blew my brains out. I was like, what the fuck? I did not see that, wasn't expecting it. Wow. So I personally would sit this, for me this year, alongside 1917 and Joker. For me, it's in my top 2 films of the year so far, so I'm giving it 100 out of 100.
Wow!
Boom.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I was really excited about this film from when I saw the trailer because I could see that it was around the whole hip hop kind of.
Yeah, you were intrigued.
Which I wouldn't.
And I'm a really big fan of Adam Sandler, and because there've been a lot of people saying how this performance is unlike anything else he's done. Everybody else was saying that they thought it was going to be Oscar worthy. Yeah. So I was like, it's going to be interesting to see him in something that isn't rubbish. Although I loved it, I was really wrong-footed at the beginning. I felt the beginning of the film was completely different to the rest of it. Yeah. But I really liked that. And so at the end, I also really loved the psychedelic music, and I liked the crossover between when it went into the gem and then it turned into his
colonic.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And I like the thing that you said when we came out afterwards. It was kind of like how they made everybody seem like material, a bit like the gem. Yeah. Because their skin was
everyone looked so
everyone
ill.
Had really horrible
skin was like a surface.
And because it started with whatever it's called, the surgery thing when they put things on him. And then it ended with it going into him.
Yes.
And it was just something really clever about it.
Yes.
It started how it finished.
Yeah.
And I felt stressed the whole way through this film, and I thought it's really skilled to make a film that keeps the energy up that high and the stress levels that high. And never lets it get boring. Although it was an exhausting film, it didn't exhaust me in the sense that I wanted to walk out or I wanted it to kind of
stop,
be more low key or anything. I liked the pace that it was at, and that's why I thought Adam Sandler's performance was so brilliant, because although he kept up that amount of energy the whole way through, which was been so exhausting,
must have been.
He still wasn't overpowering. Like I wasn't at one point, oh my god, shut up, because he was talking the whole. I don't know if you realise, but he was talking.
Apparently, has the highest swear count of any film of all time. I think there's more fuck said in this film than I think.
And I really loved the way it was shot. The grain on it was beautiful, and it was quite colourful too.
Incredibly so.
I didn't think there was a single bad performance in it.
No, there wasn't.
Even if it was like somebody in the background.
Even the chap that was harassing them in the screen.
And right at the end, also the really horrible old guy that she was in the helicopter with. Like, he was brilliant.
Oh my god, what a remarkable character.
I can't really explain why I had sympathy for him, why I worried about him, why I felt sorry for him, because he was unlikable, he was repulsive, he was an unpleasant person, he was unfaithful, he was stupid yet kind of got his own way. And he got his I don't know why, but I worried about him the whole way through. I was like, I didn't want anything bad to happen to him, even though something bad should have happened to him. And the ending, I mean, it was like such a shocking ending. Like, I love when a film can just it's bold enough to just end where it ends. And I did that because I was worried, because as it's coming to the end, I was like, I've got a feeling like it's going to be one of those films where it doesn't end with a really bold kind of end. It was one of the most shocking endings, and it's definitely going to be my top 10.
Wow.
So I would definitely give this 100 out of 100.
Wow. What were you going to say, Mom?
I was just going to say, let me just say this to sort of, it fits in with everything else that I've said, and I don't change my figure. But for the first time, it made me feel old. I thought, I can't take this. Literally.
I said to Dad when we came out, Nan's going to die watching this.
Oh, that's an interesting warning for anyone over a certain age or disposition.
Oh my goodness, I've finally reached the age where I can't see every film that comes out, because this is too much for my heart.
It's literally so stressful.
I'd go so far as to say, I think this could mark the dawn of a new era of filmmaking. And if it is a new era of filmmaking, I think we're all going to be rinsed and emotionally drained. Even more than we ever have been. I mean, it reminded me of the heady days of Scorsese kicking out.
A part of you must have felt sympathy for him if you were as stressed as you were, though, if you think about it. Because if you didn't care about him at all, you wouldn't have been stressed, because all the stress was around worrying what was going to happen to you.
I felt like it was like a basketball game. I felt like the ball was being passed, and I was like this.
You're absolutely right. I think the analogies it's analogous with an Uncut Gem, it's analogous with a basketball game. It's very Shakespearean. You're right.
You would have thought from the beginning of the film it was going to be some sort of sci-fi.
I think it was such a wrong-footing beginning and such a surprising end. What
when he was, and with the basketball player getting so obsessed with looking at it, I was like, is there going to be some alien type stuff going on?
I know what you mean.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.